Guys, it's Mike Phillips, your new Empire General for Living Legends 7, okay? And Living Legends 7 takes place on May 16th through the 18th, 2014. It takes place at CPX Sports, which is located in Joliet, Illinois, which is 45 minutes southwest of Chicago. You can fly into either airport, whether you fly into O'Hare or into Midway. They're both about the same exact distance away from CPX Sports. You can pre-register at livinglegendsofpaintball.com. There's deals for pre-registration, but if you wait until the day of, it's $65 for entry, $15 for air, and case of paint, or $80. If you pre-register, you can knock that price down a little bit, and you also get entered into contests, and you can also choose your team. Okay, so if you want to play on the new Empire side, which is the side that I'm generaling, you pre-register, you're guaranteed to be on that side. If you wait until the day of, you may not be able to pick the side. They may put you on horde. It depends on how the teams work out. So over on our Facebook page, we go to facebook.com/techpb. We've got put a question and answer session up this morning. Had about 20 good questions that have come in. Just some basic Q&A that may be helpful not only for Living Legends 7, also for other Viper games, and also for other scenario games. So if you're curious about how scenario works, some of these questions might help you a little bit. John Mouse, I'd say Mouse, that's M-A-U-S-S, asks, how does the staging and insertions work? Okay, at CPX for Living Legends, you can stage just about anywhere that you want to, wherever you feel comfortable. There's people that are going to stage at campground sites a half a mile away from the field. There's people that are going to try to stage as close as possible. That's my recommendation. I tend to try to pick a spot that's as close to the middle of the field as possible. Maybe somewhere close to porta potties, somewhere also close to where the airfill stations are at. I typically will try to stage as close as I can to the field. Just makes, I'm not a big fan of walking any more than I possibly have to. So I would recommend staging as close to the field as you possibly can. You can pretty much stage anywhere you want. We sometimes stage near the porta potties. Sometimes my gear's been underneath the paint truck. I've put it underneath there when it's been hot. I've seen people stage on the side of the roads. You pretty much, with the exception of the live field where it says goggles down past this point, you can pretty much stage anywhere that you want. How do the insertions work? Okay, on each side of the field, okay, and the field's, I believe it's about just a little over a half, maybe a little more than half a mile long, maybe I'd just say just under, maybe anywhere between a half mile to a mile long, depending on how you measure it. At each base, okay, there's going to be what they call the hospital. It's going to be an area that's going to be somewhat encompassed in net. Okay, so you're going to be somewhat surrounded in net. It's a safe place where you got to keep your barrel plugs on, or you have to keep your guns on the outside. You can take off your mask, and that's what they call the hospital. Okay, and that's where you go to start the game. So you walk over to your hospital, then you go. Typically, I've got to reread the rules, but I'm pretty sure they're still going to be the same. They've got 10 minutes where the insertion window is open, which means whether you were in the hospital or you're walking to the hospital, it's open, which means you can walk up, touch the hospital, and you're back in. This also counts if you get shot. If you're on the field and you get shot out and you happen to walk back during the open insertion window, which is that, let's say, the first 10 minutes, you can touch the base, you can come right back in, okay? After the insertion window is closed, it's usually going to be closed for 20 minutes, and then you have to wait that 20 minutes. So let's say the game starts at, let's say go at 2 o'clock, okay? 2 o'clock to 2:10, the insertion window is going to be open. So anybody that touches the hospital or exits the hospital from 2 o'clock to 2:10 is going to be allowed to start the game, go right into the field right away. From 2:10 to 2:30, the insertion window is going to be closed. So if you walk over there, you're just going to have to wait until 2:30, and until 2:40, you can reinsert again. So it's 10 minutes open, 20 minutes closed, 10 minutes open, 20 minutes closed. Christopher Santana says, what's your setup going to be for Living Legends 7? Probably bringing out all my favorite guns. I'm going to be bringing out my 50 cal Nano, my die-dam for first strike rounds, my all-time favorite gun for woods ball, which is my GOG G1 Blackheart, and I'll probably also be bringing out my Insight. So it just really depends on where I'm playing on the field, what I think I need to use most. I'll bring that out. If I need a long ball, people that are really far away, I'll probably bring out I'll run back to the base to get my first strike gun, which will be my die-dam. If I need to get out there and do some suppressive fire, I'll bring out my Nano. If I'm going to be in the woods, I usually prefer my G1 Blackheart with my Apex 2 barrel. Just shoots really nice in the woods. And if I'm going to be doing duking it out in the city, where I'm not dealing with any sort of foliage and I need something tight that I can snap shoot with really quick, I'll bring out my Bob Long Insight. So those are my favorite guns. I'll probably bring those are what I'm going to bring to Living Legends. Somer Ramos asks, what's the most accurate marker for scenario games and what's the most overrated? Don't know really what the most overrated is. You can take a look at some of the most expensive guns that are out there and maybe take your pick. In my opinion, my favorite woods ball gun still to this day that has ever been made, still to this day, is still the SP1 Blackheart, okay, which is now called the G1 Blackheart. In my opinion, that is the best scenario woods ball gun made. I just love the thing, okay? Don't have any velocity issues with it. I don't have the solenoid leaking on me once I get above 280, 290 feet per second like I do with my Didam. It's a single regulator. It's just bulletproof. The bolt moves really slow. It rarely ever breaks paint. It's just super, super reliable. Probably the only problem I think I have is it just tends to drain the battery pretty fast, so I typically have to, after I shoot 6-7 cases in one day, I've got to change the battery on it. But still to this day, the G1 Blackheart, I set it on select fire, 10.5 balls per second, and that gun's just amazing. I get the 16-inch Smart Parts All-American barrel. I put the 77 cubic inch tank on it, my Pinocchio on top, and I carry out 9 pods on my THT vest, and I feel invincible when I've got that thing. I can shoot out so many people with that. But still to this day, the GOG G1 Blackheart, in my opinion, still is the most accurate, most reliable, the absolute best gun for woods ball. I've tried them all. That's still the one, in my opinion, is still the best woods ball marker. Both Cody Brown and Adam Conley had pretty close to the same question. It's my first Living Legends 7. Not new to big scenario. However, in jealous Chicago, where do you recommend to eat or do for the week? So this is going to be some travel tips, okay? So usually after Living Legends, I usually fly Jen up after the event. We stay in Chicago for a couple days, and I love Chicago. Chicago's very pretty. What are some of my favorite things to do there? Usually we'll try to find some deals, on Expedia or something like that, or try to look around some hotel websites and see if we can find some deals on a hotel on Miracle Mile. It's just right in the middle of the whole tourist area. It's an absolute blast. Probably my favorite place to eat, it's a little bit of a splurge, is the Signature Room. My buddy Kevin Rothberg introduced me to that place at the first Living Legends I went to at Living Legends 2, and I absolutely loved it. Signature Room, it's at the top of the John Hancock building. It's like 92nd floor. You can see all of Chicago, the Great Lakes. It's absolutely breathtaking. I mean, there's nothing like that here in Florida. I mean, the highest you get here in Florida is like 40 stories up. But I really like staying down there. Recommend to go eat. I love Portillo's. Portillo's is just an amazing chain. They've got, here, I'm thinking of some places we don't have here in Florida. White Castle. They don't have a White Castle in Florida, so I love eating there. Even though everyone knows what White Castle does to your stomach, it's still worth it. I love eating at the Geno's East in downtown Chicago. It's a beautiful location, stuff like that. I actually found a pizza place that's even better than Geno's East. It's called Pequods, Peaquuods, Pequods. It's a little ways from downtown Chicago. Their pizza was out of this world. Jen and I got the pizza from there. I think we got it with garlic. We got it with meatballs. Was it garlic, extra tomatoes, and I think one other ingredient we put on there, maybe spinach or something. I can't remember. But the pizza from Pequods smoked the pizzas from Geno's East, and that was just amazing. Wife's not a big deep dish fan. She could tell. She liked stuff from Geno's East. We ate the stuff from Pequods, and now she's looking forward to eating there again. So that's probably my favorite place to go. Miracle Mile is absolutely beautiful. You got all the top of the line stores there. You got like a real nice Rolex store. You've got a really pretty the Ralph Lauren store is out of this world. It's like all mahogany, 3 stories. They really need to go walk around in there. They've got some really cool malls right there off of Miracle Mile. But probably one of the best things I can tell you to do is take the Segway tour. Okay, they got a Segway tour that takes you all around Chicago. It takes you around the museum, around some areas in downtown Chicago. It's absolutely beautiful. I definitely recommend taking the Segway tour. Okay, Steve Firo wants to know, how much does it cost to go to Living Legends? And when I mean cost, I mean everything, as far as sleep, food, eat, how much paint to bring, or how much paint to purchase, and when should I start saving up? You start saving up right away. To travel to you've got 2 separate costs when you travel to play paintball. You've got your travel cost, which is the same regardless if you're going to Living Legends or a PSP or an MPPL or playing any event. You've got your travel costs, then you've got the cost of the event. Living Legends, for most people, I think, for the event, maybe spend between $300 to $400 on average. Okay, some people will spend a lot more, some people will spend a lot less. You know, so you figure you've got your $300 to $400, you know, for when you get to the event, when you're buying t-shirts, you've got your, let's say $80 for entry, $80 per case of paint. So you figure $300 to $400. When you really think about it, that's not bad. That's what it just costs for your entry to play a PSP. Okay, just your entry to play a PSP and your $60 ID card is going to run you close to $400. Okay, whether you're playing Division 4, Division 3, whatever, just your entry alone is going to be between $300 to $400. Okay, and you haven't even started playing yet. You still got to go buy 5-6 cases of paint, and then those are going to be $50-$60 each. So you know you can play Living Legends for 3 days for the cost that it's going to cost just for your entry to play the PSP. Okay, so you know, Living Legends is a discount. You know, is pretty cheap when you compare what it costs to play professional, you know, tournament paintball. You know, at the PSP, it's not cheap to play the PSP. It's not cheap to travel and play paintball. But I would say if you figure flights are $400, entries $300. Hotel, maybe $80 per night. If you need to rent a car, you catch a ride. I would probably budget maybe between, on a really, really good budgeter, maybe between $700 if you're driving there really close. If you're flying there from really far away, it could cost over $1,000. So, you know, if you add it all up, $300 per day. If you get the most out of it, you get there early, play Friday night, play Saturday, play Sunday, enjoy yourself. It's gonna probably cost you travel to be about $1,000, which isn't that bad. When I played PSP Dallas, I spent over $2,000 because the team I played for is sponsored by Empire, and I had to buy all sorts of Empire gear to play on the team, and that even added to my cost. So. You figure $300 to play there. It's a pretty good bargain. And this goes right into the next one from Carl Homer. Why is Living Legends an event worth going to? I love the vibe of it. The one thing you got to understand about Living Legends is that it's 50% competition, 50% entertainment. You've got friends and friends and people that you know on both sides of it. CPX is an amazing facility. It really just is a blast, and for what you get, it's just awesome. The fact that the terrain changes so much when you're out there. It's not just like, it's not like some fields where it's just woods from one end to the other. They literally have like 20 different fields there, and they're all mushed up. So, you go from one field and you go into another, and then you go into another. I mean, you literally pass like 6 or 7 different fields before you even get up to an area where you start playing. So just the fact they've got that badass city, which is an amazing place to play, it's just really cool. They got some areas where it's 2 stories. Then you've got the Armageddon, which is really, really crazy. It feels like you're in like Roman ruins, and they have the Temple of Doom, which is like this huge mountain, and it's got tunnels through it and stuff. And it's just a crazy field to play at. It's just a blast. I think for the money, it's a lot of fun. Where you play, maybe you play tournaments and you only get to play a couple points that may last a minute or 2 tops. Living Legends, your gameplay is going to be measured in hours. Not minutes. It's going to be measured in hours. You're going to be on the field a lot. The final battles are absolutely insane. It's just a pure meat grinder bloodbath. I absolutely love it. It really is just a blast to play at. And if you like bikini contests, go to bikini contests. I've never actually seen the bikini contest. I heard it's a lot of fun. It's not anything that I don't see on a daily basis here in Florida because it's 100 degrees like 10 months out of the year. But I've never been to the bikini contest. Usually I've been so smoked that I've just went to the hotel room and gone to bed. I'd probably, if I wanted to see probably tits and ass, I'd probably just go to a strip club and just get it all to myself instead of having to look at it on stage. But don't tell my wife that. The bikini contest looks like it's a blast. I think the more controversial it is, the funnier it is. It's the fact that you get to face 1,000 people. I mean, the fact you get to face 1,000 people, and if you really put your heart into that game, you can do some shit that could everybody will be talking about forever. I mean, if you really do something, you're going to be sitting there and it's like, fuck it, I'm here, it's Living Legends, let's do it now. Look at the video from the attempt where I went over the hill. You know what I mean? I mean, just you really have that. I mean, I'm not any different than anybody that's watching this video, but I sat there and I analyzed the field and I walked the field and I measured it and I said, I bet I could do something here that nobody's ever even thought about doing. I bet that I can start from my spawn, go over the hill and make it a SWAT team truck without getting shot out and completely surprise the other team. And I was able to pull it off, even though I was, you know, shaking like a leaf from all the adrenaline for like an hour after that. But, you know, it really is a great event to go to. The vibe at CPX is just unbelievable. I mean, I can't sell this game enough. I mean, I really can't. I hate traveling for paintball. It's why I don't travel to a lot of places. I really don't like leaving my wife and kids. And it's a nightmare for me to set up everything to make sure that, you know, they're taken care of when I go out of town. But I'll make the sacrifice for Living Legends because it's that amazing of a game. Let's see. Skylar Svoboda. I'm sorry about that. Who will be joining your team that's not listed on Living Legends website like Wolf? What teams are well-known players? Right now, we've probably got somewhere between 80 to 100 teams that have committed to New Empire. We haven't listed them yet. We're not going to. It's too soon to the game to put the list out there. You don't want them to get back recruited by the Horde. I mean, this is scenario paintball. It's fun. It's aggressive and keeps you on your toes. We've got committed between 80 to 100 teams. Some very, very well-known teams. We're definitely looking forward to moving with them and doing some damage with them. They will be put to work. I'm not one of these generals that cherry picks teams. You know, I've played on scenario games where you've got the general that tends to cherry pick his favorite one or two teams, his couple of players, and everyone else is left in the dark. I don't general like that at all. Anybody that steps forward will be used. Anybody that is willing to volunteer, is willing to get involved, I will get you involved. Everybody on my team is going to be involved. And, you know, we've got between 80 to 100 teams that have committed to New Empire. And as the event gets closer and closer and closer, as more and more pre-registers start coming in and stuff like that, we will disclose, put the team list out there. If you have committed to New Empire and you want to make sure that your team name is acknowledged in one of the next upcoming TechPB videos, please send me an email, mike.techpb@gmail.com, so that way I make sure that your team name is in the next video. Sam Atwell says, how will the field be laid out this year? The biggest change that they're making this year for Living Legends as opposed to any of the games in the past is that they are now putting the rumble area off to the side. Okay, typically the rumbles were in, this is where you got 5 legions on each side. Now they're going to have the legions do their skirmishes off the field in a separate area, okay? And that's probably going to be the biggest change. Also, they're doing away with the bottleneck, so the field is going to be more like an oval instead of like kind of a kidney shape. So they're definitely doing away with a lot of the bottleneck, that one bottleneck that was on that field. If you go to, it's very simple. If you get on Google Earth, okay, or on Google Maps, type in CPX Sports. And if you go on CPX Sports, you're going to see the little pro shop. You're going to see 2 circles, which is the little roundabout circles where the buses go around. If you see those 2 circles, pretty much that area around those 2 circles is pretty much the field. So you can see where Bedlam is, Armageddon. You can see all the area in the middle. You can see where the railroad tracks are. You know, that's off limits, obviously. But if you take a look, you see those 2 circles that are on the map. You know, that's how you can tell where the field is at. Let me see here. What Christian Lanesi wants to know, minimum number of paintballs to buy to have a good time. I would say at a bare minimum, 3 cases is what I would say. I mean, Cockerpunk a few years ago shot a pump gun, and even with his pump gun, he shot 3 cases, okay? It's the fact that you're facing 1,000 players, okay? And the best way to conserve paint isn't really necessarily using a pump gun, and it's not using a mech gun. It's putting yourself in the position to do the most damage before you get on the trigger. A lot of players, what ends up happening is you know, they're out of range, okay? They're 500 feet away from their opponent, so they start longballing. Before you know it, if they've only got 4 pods, they've wasted 3 pods in their loader just getting into range of, you know, long ball range of the other team. So if you want to conserve paint, what you want to do is you want to move up at angles, okay? I see people make, I jackhammer anybody that does this to me. Anytime you run straight on to your opponent woods ball, you're immediately out. You want to run an angle. So if you're my opponent, I'm staring right at you through the camera, I want to go at like 45-degree angles, you know, towards you. It's a lot harder for you to hit my finger, or a lot easier for you to hit my finger going this way, right straight towards you, than it is for me if I'm going this way, then that way, then this way, then that way. So I tend to like to zigzag towards my opponents And then once I hear them really just beating on my bunker, I mean, not just like the bop, bop. When I start hearing, then I know I'm in a position where when I pop out, I can machine gun. So usually I get myself in a really good position where they're just beating on my bunker. I take a deep breath and relax. Obviously, I'm behind a piece of plywood. They're not going to shoot me through the plywood. Relax, wait for it to start to calm down. Head check, figure out where the opponents are at, come out in a different spot, and then just start machine gunning people. So if you really truly want to be effective with your paint, get yourself in a position where you can actually hit your opponent. Don't long ball from far away and just hit these one shots, and you're not going to hit anybody. I mean, if anything, you're going to hit your own team, and that's probably the biggest complaint at Living Legends. Got people that are 600 feet away from the scrimmage line shooting out all of their own players. They're not even hitting. If this is the team, these are the people right here shooting, okay, and they're shooting back and forth here, okay, and they got a firefight. You've got people that are over here completely off camera shooting and hitting their own players. They're not even anywhere close to the players. The opponent, they're shooting out their own players. So, I mean, I got respect for frontline players on both sides. If nobody's shooting at you, you can't hit anybody. If nobody can hit you, you can't hit them, okay? The paintballs fly the same range. So, if nobody's shooting at you, you shouldn't be shooting at anyone either, okay? If there's no paint coming in and hitting your tree or hitting your bunker, stay off the triggers. The only thing you're going to do is shoot out your own team. First insertion at last year's Living Legends 6. Ran up to the front line, felt like I was going to be able to start doing something, get shot up by my own team. First insertion, I was furious. So, that's if you want to truly conserve paint, stay off your trigger until your bunker's just getting blown apart. Then come out and start machine gunning people. Don't sit there and long ball. Stupidest thing ever. Let's see here. Andrew Freereich. How do legions stay together or meet up at points? Are they generally separate from each other? You'll find out when you play for New Empire. We've got a plan for our legions. We're going to assign them to specific areas, so your legion will always be there. And then for the scrimmages, you'll have to go over to your area for the scrimmage. The scrimmages last 40 minutes. They start, and then when they start, at the 20-minute mark, there's going to be another whistle or horn that's going to be blown for the second insertion. So if you get there late, you can only join the second insertion, but you're going to want to be there on time so that you can play both insertions and play out there for the full 40 minutes. But in regards to legions and stuff like that, I've got a plan for it. Don't worry. I'll tell you when you get to CPX and you're on the New Empire side. Trust me, we've got a plan for it. How far, Nicholas Crawford wants to know, how far is the insertion points and the staging area? How far is the fight from the insertion point? About a quarter mile in each direction. So from usually the middle where everybody is staged, it's about a quarter mile to the base, whether you're on the left side or right side. And then from there, it's a quarter mile back to the middle. Depends on which way the lines are moved. I have seen the CPX, the lines can move, 200 to 600 yards in the course of just a matter of minutes, especially with the amount of tanks that they were going to have at Living Legends 7. There's going to be I think 4 to 6 tanks on each side. So, one tank rolling through can carry 100 players with them, and next thing you can literally walk to the other side of the field, and then on your next insertion, you can be battling out to get out of your own spawn. So, it really just depends. I would say it's a quarter mile to get to the spawn, quarter mile to the fight. That would be on average. Martin Hayter wants to know, it's H-A-I-D-E-R, it's not H-A-T-E-R. Through your multiple experiences at Living Legends, has cheating been a significant problem? Large number of players. Do they have enough referees? They have referees everywhere at Living Legends. I mean, they're everywhere. And they also have player referees as well, which are, Viper will have players on both sides that are what they call player referees. These are players that Viper and Sean Scott know very well. They know them to be honest, reputable players, and their job is to keep an eye out for any sort of cheating or anything that they see going on, so they can report it to a ref. They're just like little undercover players that are out there, and they're just there to keep things on the up and up for everybody. Yeah, have I seen a lot of cheating out there? No, not necessarily. I don't think it happens any less at Living Legends than it does anywhere else. There's been times where someone's 200 plus feet away, I shoot them, I see a break on them, and then all of a sudden the person just does a tactical retreat and runs back 600 yards, and there's no way to see, where that player went. Does it happen occasionally? Yeah. I mean, is it something that I would, am I going to be like Tiger about it? Everybody's cheating. No, it's not anywhere near that. I mean, if you shoot out 100 players, you may see one person, ignore the hit, or one person, I don't worry that much about it. I don't see it really happening that much. I will say there was 2 rumors about me personally. People love talking about Mike, but there was 2 rumors about me personally. One just got overkilled. I mean, one just got super killed in the past couple weeks. There was a player at Living Legends 3 that was running around. There was a player, I'm not going to mention his name, but he was on Reddit, he's been on PBN and stuff like that claimed that, Mike's team was all inserting from the middle, and he was inserting from the middle, and I saw, moderators inserting from the middle. This was at Living Legends 3, and they were cheating and inserting from Bedlam. What happened was, I'm going to just put these rumors to rest. Kitty had special permission because, a lot of people have seen, Kitty's health has declined severely over the past few years. Kitty actually fractured her ankle at one of the first insertions of Living Legends 3. She went down to the ravine, fractured her ankle, coming back up, and she was out. She was done playing. Okay, and Sean Scott and Viper saw her, and they asked, how come you haven't played? She said, look, I fractured my ankle. I can still walk on it, but I can see it's already swelling up. This isn't good for me. It's not good for my joints. And Sean was like, well, and she's like, I can't handle walking a quarter mile from the spawn all the way over to the front line. I just can't do that. So Viper gave her and 3 other players special permission. One player was carrying her and basically her shoulder to lean on. Another player was carrying her gun, and another player was carrying her pack. And they got special permission to just insert from the middle and go into the front line and then go from there. Okay, somebody saw that and had a heart attack over it. Didn't know what was, the guys from Tech DB are cheating. They're inserting from the middle. They have between 2 to 6 refs at the opening entrance for Bedlam, okay? There's no way that you can get into that area. I know this. I've staged across from Bedlam, from the entrance of Bedlam. They always have between 2 to 6 refs in that area to prevent anybody from trying to insert in that middle area there, okay? But anyway, this player had it. He had this bone to pick with me that Mike inserted from the middle and yada, yada, yada. What happened was, I left my magazines. If you guys remember, Living Legends 3 was one of the first years that I had the Tiberius Arms T4. Those T4 magazines are $50 each, okay? I got storm rolled by the tank. I was at the little hut near the city. I got in, I took a count of my magazines. I was missing 2 $50 magazines, okay? Counting the paint in there plus the CO2 cartridge. I was missing 2 of my magazines, okay? So, didn't have any gear on me at all, okay? Didn't have a gun, didn't have a pack, didn't have anything. I knew exactly where I left my magazines. I ran back. I went into where the entrance was for Bedlam. I told 2 refs, look, I left 2 magazines. I know exactly where they're at. I just got rolled over by a tank, and I left them in the hut. I ran across the field, went over, grabbed my 2 magazines, came back, started reloading them or whatever. This guy, he inserted from the middle. He's a cheater. I saw it. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. No, did not cheat. I didn't have anything on me. I just wanted to get my $100 in gear back, which anybody is allowed to do, okay? If you leave something on the field, okay, leave all your gear behind. Okay, if you find that you lost a radio or you left something like that, leave all your gear behind. And go over there and tell them, look, I left my radio over there. I left my rocket launcher over there. I left whatever over there. I need to go get it. Refs will let you run over there and get it and get off the field as soon as you possibly can. Another thing, Living Legends, I believe was 5 or, let me see, 5 I believe is what it was. Living Legends 5. I had a ghillie suit on, okay? If you guys notice something about Living Legends, I always try to do something different, okay? Living Legends 2 was the first time with the first strike, I was using the Apex barrel and first strike rounds, and I used like 50 cal in Living Legends 4, and so I always try to do something a little bit different. Anyway, Living Legends 5 is how I'm going to experiment with the ghillie suit. Somebody went around all over, I didn't see his armband tape. I was wearing a ghillie suit, okay? It was still on me. I still have the ghillie suit. The tape is still on there. He didn't have armband tape on. He was cheating. No. You just can't see it, okay? I wrapped it around there, but after 2 hours of wearing the ghillie suit, it just rolled up, okay? It was still there. It was as visible as I could possibly get it, but I didn't see his armband tape. Of course you didn't see me, motherfucker. I was behind you. I watched you walk past me before I came up and shot out 20, 30 of your players. So, whatever. I mean, people love causing controversy. Those are the only 2 times I've ever been accused of cheating publicly. I usually get more of a kick out of it than anything. We had a referee, just like the other side did at Living Legends 5. We had a referee checking everybody when they were leaving to ensure that they had an armband tape. I'm pretty sure that with as many people that were behind me, if somebody saw me just tear my armband tape off, wave it in the air, and throw it off to cheat, pretty sure more than that one person would have noticed it, okay? But I still have the ghillie suit. I still have the blue armband tape on it. It never came off because if I take it off, it's going to rip my ghillie suit. I just left it on. Okay, let's see what else we got here. John Dago asks, what are the best tips for small recon groups for between 3 to 4 players? Okay, one of the first things I would tell you guys to do, obviously, first insertion, everybody goes up there, your job is to establish the front. Okay, you got to do that. Got to establish a scrimmage line from the very beginning. Second thing, guys, get back touch, get back on the field again, and the next thing you want to do is you want to look for those stash boxes, those cash boxes, okay? Viper tends to put boxes with your medic cards and your demolition cards and your role-playing cards and stuff like that tend to be in lock boxes hidden on the field, okay? And he likes to put them in places where you would normally just run right past them. Sometimes they can be right near your spawn. Sometimes they can be off in the corner of the field. That's the first thing I would do as a recon team is go around and try to search for those cash boxes, okay? Now, I'm kind of getting off topic here, but another thing you want to do is make sure that you're all, on walkie-talkies and you leave a walkie-talkie with your base. But and another thing I would also recommend you bring is some sort of tape, maybe construction tape or something, so that when you find the cash box, because a lot of times Viper doesn't give you the key for that cash box until later on. Sometimes you may have to go do a mission to get that key. You want to make sure that you mark it somehow, okay? Whether you mark the trees around it or something. Because I've had times people, Mike, I saw a cash box over there. Okay, cool, we got a key. Well, where is it? I don't know. It was near a tree. Well, what tree? There's 500 trees. I don't know. I just saw it and I ran over here. It's like, you don't remember where you were at? No, I don't remember. So you want to do something to mark that area so that when the key comes in to get that cash box, you know exactly where it's at. You're a recon team, reconnaissance team, okay? So if you find something of value or something of interest, you want to make sure that you mark that area, okay? So next thing I would also recommend doing too is as a recon team, if you find any slapsticks that maybe nobody's even found yet, maybe mark those areas as well. Sometimes there's slapsticks that are really hidden out there, and a lot of players may not know exactly where they're at. So after you do the first insertion, you really want to take a survey of the field so that you know exactly where everything is at. So that when your general, which would be me, tells you, hey, we've got a mission in this area. You guys know exactly where it's at. You've spent the time walking around. You've reconned the entire field. You know where the cash boxes are at. You know where the slapsticks are at. You know the fastest way to get there, and you guys can get there. And also, in regards to getting up the field, typically after about 2-3 hours on the field of Living Legends, there's going to be little hot spots of people fighting. Okay, so there's going to be maybe down in the ravine. There's going to be a little area there where people are going to be skirmishing or battling up, maybe in over there. So if you need to get deep on the field, you want to avoid those areas. So sometimes you can't just walk from one end of the field to the other. But I've found this many times that if you hear where the firefights are at, you want to kind of go in between those firefights and really try to work your way up the field. So if you hear a firefight or somebody shooting, that should be an alarm for you to start kind of moving in the different direction to try to get all around those firefights. So that's probably one of the best things. I tell you, for me, the times I've done recon, one of the best ways I've found was after a tank rolled through. Okay, a tank rolls. You see a tank coming up, right? Get yourself in a position to where you're laying down in a really tight area where maybe most people will be walking behind the tank as the tank rolls through. So everybody starts. The tank starts coming. Here comes everybody. The tank's shooting out all your players behind you. You stay down low and tight as you can. Tank goes by. The players go by. Spin yourself around and now face that way. And now everybody that's coming up thinks you're on their team. And then when everybody walks past you, proceed over to their base. So, and if you get over to the base, put yourself in a position where they can't see your armband. So get yourself into a nice tight bunker. If your armband's on the left side, find a bunker to where everybody's going to be walking by is going to be on your right so they can't see your armband. So that way you can sit over there and you can get recon on what exactly is going on until they finally sniff you out, which is eventually going to happen, but it's really fun. Let's see here. Michael Clayton Klein and Dylan Mamini says, what about me meeting up? Can I have a hug after the game's over? Yes, okay. You can have a hug anytime you want. If like when I went to Canadian Carnage 1 and 2, I was one of the last people to leave the field. It's going to be the same thing at this one. I'm not leaving until Monday. I'm going to be at the field. Anybody that wants to meet me, come over and say hi. So I have no problem with that. I love meeting people. It's fun. Randy Wheeler asks, what do you normally think to bring as backup? Okay, a lot of people kind of confuse backup equipment with secondary markers, okay? A secondary marker would be something like a Tiberius Arms 8.1, okay, that shoots first strike rounds, okay? That would be like a good secondary marker. So, you've got your normal gun, someone's 400 feet away, you pull out your first strike rounds, ding, 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 you shoot them at them and push them back even further. A good backup gun would be something that you wouldn't mind using, okay? So let's say you've got a GOG G1 Blackheart, that's going to be your primary, and then your backup gun would be like an axe. So you just want to make sure that you're bringing something that you wouldn't mind using. If using like if you're bringing out maybe a mech autococker or a classical autococker or something like that, and maybe bring in your axe. I would just pick 2 guns that you wouldn't mind using at any given time that are interchangeable, and that's what I would use as my backup equipment. Brian Cantina says, I'm 13 and hopefully going to Living Legends this year. I plan on wearing a t-shirt, dye elbow pads, and my Empire jersey. Do you think I'll overheat on it? If you're already asking about overheating, I would lose the shirt and just go with the jersey, okay? It really is a great way to go. Also, I've said this many times, Under Armour shirts, wicking fabric shirts are godsends, as what Todd Martinez says, spandex, head to toe. Really disperse all that sweat, disperse all that heat, get that evaporative cooling process going. It's amazing. Stay away from cotton shirts that are just going to get super hot on you. Bad idea. But if you feel hot, either just go with just the t-shirt or take off the t-shirt and go with just the jersey. You're not going to get shot a lot when you're out there in the woods just playing. You might get hit a couple times here and there, but it's really nothing that you should, layer and layer up. It's a bad idea. You're going to be carrying around all that fabric for a long time. Matthew Vozinalek asks, what are the bore sizes for paint? Obviously, we haven't seen anything in the 689 category from Empire in a long time. I would anticipate paint probably between 684 to 688. If it's a little bit cool that day, I would say probably maybe 684, 686. If it's on the warmer side, depending on how the weather works out, it could be a 688. Okay, last thing I want to talk about for this show is going to be, let's talk about medical. Okay, I got a couple concerns in regards to medical. I want to put them out there for everybody. First thing, if you see somebody out there in a wheelchair, okay, somebody who's out there playing in a wheelchair, leave them alone, okay? One thing when I've talked to people who play in a wheelchair, they say that one of the biggest pet peeves they have is the amount of people that come over and ask them, do they need help? Do they need help? Do they need help? It gets really old, okay? That's it. The way to make a person truly feel disabled is to keep offering help to them. If they need help, they're not going to have any problem finding it, okay? If you see somebody in a wheelchair, don't pay any more or any less attention to them than you would any other player that's out there. By heaven's sake, please don't fucking grab their wheelchair and wheel them to a different part of the field, okay? If you knock them over or they fall down, they could be in the hospital for months. You don't know what ailments people have got and stuff like that. If you see somebody out there in a wheelchair, just leave them alone. Maybe cover them. If they think about moving up, be there to cover them if you want to, but I wouldn't pay any more or any less attention to them than I can promise you they probably already have a half a dozen helpers as it is that are all standing around them. Just leave them alone. Definitely don't grab their wheelchair unless they ask for it. Don't offer them help unless they look like they need it or they got their hand up. Other than that, just leave them alone. It's just that can be really dangerous if you just grab somebody's wheelchair, whisk them to another place. You slip, they slip. You crash somebody, that's going to really suck. So just be really careful with that. Second thing, if you have any other medical ailments, okay, let's say you're asthmatic. A lot of people have asthma, allergies, stuff like that, okay? The first thing I would tell you, if you're coming to Living Legends alone, partner up with somebody, okay? Or partner up with a team or something like that. There's a lot of great teams that are out there. Show up. Some happy faces that are out there. See some of the guys around Tech B on New Empire. Some of the guys that are even on the Horde. Great people. If you have a medical ailment, the worst thing you can do, especially for a game like this, is not let other people know. Go if you have any questions. You can also ask Paul Dagnito or Sean Scott. They can point you to a group of trusted players who can take care of you. And basically, all you got to do is come up to them. If you see me, Mike, here's the deal. I'm asthmatic, okay, or I'm diabetic. I would tackle both those at the same time. I'm gonna have my inhaler in my pocket, or I'm gonna have my glucose my glucose gel or my glucose tablets in my pocket. I'm diabetic. I feel really comfortable if I can go out there with a group of people that know my condition. I'll bring you over to a couple people. Hey guys, this is Max. He's asthmatic, or he's maybe diabetic, or he's got this issue or that issue. If he has a problem, this is how we handle it. and we can get them the proper care. The worst thing you can do is keep your mouth shut about it and not tell anybody what your problem is or how they can help you, and then all of a sudden you run into an issue with your medical condition and everybody's panicking because they don't know what to do. You know, so I've seen people that were diabetic get a low blood sugar and drop like a fly, and nobody knows they're diabetic. Nobody knows what happened. They pass out from heat exhaustion. No, all of a sudden, we open up his ID, realize he's diabetic. Okay, yeah, we need to set him up. We need to get an ambulance over here so they can, get some, get some sugar in him. Orange juice, crackers, whatever we need to do to get his blood sugars up so that he can take care of himself. Same thing with people that are asthmatic. I knew a guy one time that freaking hid his inhaler. He hid his inhaler in his gear bag. Okay, so he's sitting there. He's all of a sudden his chest starts getting really tight. He's having a hard time breathing. He takes his mask off. And we're like, inhaler. He's like, he's pointing gear bag, and he had no idea where it was at. He had it hidden in his gear bag. We didn't even know he was asthmatic. So we found it. But don't take your inhaler and put it in a sock and then put it in a pod and then put it in your pack and then put that pack in a backpack and stick that in your gear bag and then put a lock on it shut and then not tell anybody. I mean, when you're needing your inhaler, you're needing your asthma treatment, if nobody knows how to help you, we can't help you. So be really conscious about your medical ailments. It's not embarrassing. It's not anything anybody's going to make fun of you. Everybody has got things that they're working through, whether it's they need their anti-seizure medicine or whatever. Tell a couple people that are around you. Make sure you notify a couple people, and when you play, stick with them. And then that way, if there's an issue, we know exactly what's going on. There's tanks that are going to be going around when there's a problem out there. There's also, they can put them on put the person inside the tank and get them off the field to where the paramedics can take care of them. But we got to know what's going on. You got to tell somebody what's going on. So I would definitely recommend, for Legends, with that many people that are going to be out there, if you've got some sort of medical condition, whatever it is. My wife's an insulin-dependent diabetic. I know how to take care of her when she has a low blood sugar. I know how to take care of people that are asthmatic, but if all of a sudden I just see somebody drop like a stone, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to fix that person. So if you have a medical ailment, do the right thing. Tell some people that are around you, and that way, if something happens, everybody around you knows how to take care of you. So I think that's what we got here. If you've got any questions, any more other questions, post them up below this video. If you don't like the TechPB Facebook page, go to facebook.com/TechPB, and I can answer some more questions there. Post them down below, and hopefully we can answer them all. So sorry this has been a really long video. My voice is already gone from doing this one, but a lot of really good questions here. Thank you.